Hello everyone, I'm Chiel Borkent, product owner at Ultimo and responsible for our mobile solutions. Welcome in this webinar. What's new in Ultimo Mobile? Well, I have a lot of apps on my mobile phone and on a regular basis they got updated, but to be honest, I don't read the release note. And I have a little bit the assumption that you might do it as well. So I thought, well, it's a while ago that they gave an update about mobile. So let's bring you up to speed again what we have added in the recent period, so you're good to go again. So that's this webinar about. I have the following agenda. First, some general usability improvements for the Ultimo Go and Go Plus. Then we are really focusing on the new features. What are you working on? And then I've got a question about optical character recognition, OCR. Well, at the end, I will go through the questions. So during the webinar, please already add them in the chat. But at the end, I will come back on the questions. And I have the assumption that we can handle all the questions. So let's start with the general usability improvements. The first one is about the visual expectation. About a year ago, I gave an update about the Ultimo Go Plus app. And here we've changed the UI. So on the items like opening a list, we've added an open arrow so the user knows upfront what to expect. Because there's also another option that you can start an action. So a dialog will appear on your screen. And here we've added the closed arrow. Now we received positive feedback about it, and but it wasn't available in the Ultimo Go. So that's the reason we have also added it in the Ultimo Go as well. So now the products are similar again. So again, in your menu and on your screens, we've added an indication so the user knows upfront what to expect when he selects an option. The next item is about the performance. Well, to be honest, we received some complaints with bugs that sometimes the performance drops when users were working with a lot of data, for example, articles or assets. And for example, the technician needs to link on a job an asset, and there was a performance drop. We checked it with a method called AppDex, and it was indeed the case. We saw that the performance drop went to fair. But we want to have happy users also with our app. So we took this very seriously and we really changed the entire architecture beneath it. So a little bit detailed, but not getting too much technical. Instead of loading a lot of data up front, we now switch to a technique where we load a subset. And when a user is going to a different page or he's entering new text where you want to search on, we're loading every time a new set of data. So the end result for the user is similar. He won't notice the difference, but we are handling less data during the actions. And we are checking now again the AppDex, and we now see that it's during the day really excellent. Also, we don't receive any complaints anymore about the performance in mobile solutions. So I think this is really an important and nice improvement. It applies to the Ultimo Go and Ultimo Go Plus while working online. Keep in mind, Ultimo Go Plus also capable of working offline, but here the technique is really different. So we are focusing for this case only on the performance, on the online part. So those were two general usability improvements. Now we're going to switch to the new features. And the first one is about Microsoft Teams integration. Keep in mind the technician is working on site with an asset and he needs help. Well, it was already possible to call a colleague. You would go to the employee screen and start a call. But more and more organizations are working with Microsoft Teams. We as well. And we discussed with Microsoft, can we add an integration? So we discussed the options and we added a basic integration with Microsoft Teams. So on the job screens, we've added an option to start a chat with a colleague. It already takes some text to your chat about the job. So you can start a conversation with your colleague, or call him or do a video chat with him. That's all possible in Teams. So this way, yeah, we've added an integration. When your organization doesn't work with Microsoft Teams, you can disable this feature in the Ultimo application element tree. So it's just a boolean and set it to false, and the option will disappear from the screens. And this is available in the Ultimo Go and Ultimo Go Plus. The next feature is about near field communication. Keep in mind that the same technician is working on site with an asset, and it's now possible, already the case, to scan the QR code. But sometimes that QR code is damaged or dirty, and then this technique doesn't work. So he has to search by room number or process function the right asset, and that's really an annoying step, and also an error is quickly made. And here near field communication is really handy. So with near field communication, you just hold your phone nearby a tag. It can be a sticker or with a key cord or such a technique. You hold your phone nearby it, and Ultimo searches the right assets. It's a total solution. So we've added on the equipment screens an option to link a chip ID to the asset, and then you can use it everywhere when you want to search on that asset. So that's really a nice addition to the search functionality. Well, there are several reasons why this technique might not work in your organization, because not all the phones support near field communication. Now, to give you insight in that, we've added an option in our app. When you go to the More menu and then the About page, here we are showing an overview about, does my phone support NFC? Did I enable it? Did I give permission that the Ultimo app is allowed to use near field communication? And then the last step is this option enabled in the application element tree. So are you curious about this technique? You can already check it in our app and enable it. So, because we were working on the performance of loading a list and on near field communication, we also checked the market requirements and we received several questions. Can we make it possible in workflows, etc., to use everywhere QR code? Well, that's what we've done. Now everywhere in the app and in the Ultimo Go, you can work with QR codes. We also apply this to the near field communication, but keep in mind that this is only available in our app, so in the Go Plus, because near field communication is not available in all the browsers. That's why it's not available in the Ultimo Go. Again, if you don't want to work with near field communication or QR, you can disable it in the application element tree, and then the icons will disappear in our app and in the Ultimo Go. So we've changed a lot in the searching and in the options too, with QR and NFC. The language support. Ultimo is growing internationally. More customers ask for the support of languages so the users can work in their native language. That's why we've added a lot of new languages in Ultimo Web, but also, of course, also in Ultimo Mobile. So when you check the release notes, you'll see that we are adding translations, for example, for Danish, etc. To the Nordic languages, but also Brazilian Portuguese is added as well. So that's also a reason why we bring out new versions. And of course, very important for the users working with our app that they can work in their own language. Adding photos. Here we made two important changes. So devices can make really high quality photos. So the details, of course, is growing, and we receive questions about it, because when you make a photo with your mobile phone and add it in the Ultimo Mobile, then during an inspection, then some users want to work with that picture in the desktop version. So here you want to have the high detail as well. So the question is, can we not compress the image and keep the high quality? And that's what we have done. So when you now make a picture with the mobile phone and work with it within mobile, we will send that photo without compression to the desktop, so there you can handle that inspection with a really detailed photo. The second change is in the app you can add an image. Here's an example of the forklift, and you can open it full screen and then have a look at it within the app. So we open this in the app, but you can also add an image as a document, and here is a different technique. We open then the image with an external app. But for example, with an email import, all the images from users were attached as a document, so the technician who was working on site, once the image could be opened within the app, and sometimes you had to open it in an external app, and that was annoying. So we agree on that, and that's why we changed the technique. So always an image, if it is directly linked to, for example, the job, or is it attached as a document, we will open it in the app. It's still possible to open it with an external app. On the right corner you see an icon, and when you press on it, a dialog will appear, and here you can choose to open it in the gallery or within another app. So those were the two changes about photos. Health, safety and environment incidents. Objective is of course to have all those incidents reported in an accurate way, and should be easy to report them. But when you look at it and it's not available in mobile, here are some challenges. So someone who's involved in this and want to report it, he has to go to a workspace. You can also imagine that's really annoying to upload a photo. If you now look at the challenges, to be honest, you ask them several times, please add it in mobile. It will really solve this problem. And that's what we have done. We have added it in mobile, so now you can report those incidents as well in mobile. So here's a short impression. So you have a dialog where you can fill in all the fields. It's also possible to report it anonymously, add several images, and here now it's possible to meet the objectives stated in the previous slide. So a nice improvement and requested by many customers. Then the final feature is about the availability of the app for self-service and light users. So those user groups weren't allowed to work with the app. They were kind of forced to work in Ultimo Go. But you can imagine that, for example, a self-service user who's not working every day in the Ultimo Go. So when he wants to report something, he needs to remember the URL, and that's a little bit annoying. And more users are now using apps on their phone. It's just easier, start the app and then report something. So that's why we received a lot of market requirements about it as well. So make it possible to use the app for those user groups. Another reason is the MDM support. So application managers want to push an app instead of a link to a website. That's easier for them as well. So that's a second important reason. And we are adding more content for mobile. For example, also the operations module, which is important for light users. And they want to work as well with near field communication. So all in all, we decided we allow all those user groups to the Ultimo Go Plus. So that's also an important new feature to be mentioned. What are we working on? Well, one of the first thing I want to mention is the inspection functionality. So team is already starting with a customer panel to check what are the requirements to improve the inspection functionality. So it is already there in web and in mobile, but we want to improve it. But to be honest, we are still searching for input from end users, because we want to focus on handling a lot of inspection lines. For example, here in the impression is a number called 10, but we also received items like more than 100 inspection lines. So it's important to have a nice and good overview, but also the speed of handling such an amount is very important. So that's where we want to focus on. We have some ideas about having a swipe, but we want to check this with an end user. So if in your organization is an end user who is handling already a lot of inspection lines in our app and is willing to give us advice about improvements, please email us to the product management at Ultimo address, and we get in contact. We have different scenarios. Maybe it's a good step to come on site and see how you're handling those inspection lines, or we're sending you an interactive mock-up where you can check it with the end user to see how it's working and give us advice. So please, have you an end user in your organization, email us so we can improve this inspection functionality. Another thing is that we are working on our mobile vision and strategy. So as you might know, we have Ultimo Web, Ultimo Go, and Ultimo Go Plus. And the Go Plus is really a native app installed, it's capable of working offline. Ultimo Web and Ultimo Mobile, so that's Go and Go Plus, don't share the configuration. So that's one thing also very important and mentioned by a lot of customers. Also, the landscape of these devices is changing. So mobile phones, tablets, but you have tablets with a keyboard that behave like a kind of desktop workstation. So also industrial wearables like a smartwatch where you can start an activity and stop it as time management. A HoloLens. So overall, there's a lot of changes in the landscape and questions like, is it still needed to work offline? We are checking this also with market analysis, and overall we want to determine what's our long-term vision and strategy, and then check it to see where are we now and where do we need to invest. So that's one thing we are working on, and you can imagine that this is a really important and huge step to for the coming period. Then we are getting to the topic optical character recognition, OCR. You might think, what is this? I've also got a question about it to you. So let's first start with what is OCR. At Ultimo, we've had a hackathon, and hackathon is a funny way to collaborate with your team or with a totally different team and just try something out. Well, let me explain with this example what OCR is. I was involved in a team where we want to check if a meter, with the meter reading, we want to make a picture and then process that picture and let the meter value be determined with artificial intelligence and give back to the user. Now, that's what we have done, and it works brilliant. So we went a little bit further. We have added the QR code. That was our idea, that's the asset ID, and let, again, that artificial intelligence check, do I see in this picture a QR code, and do I see the meter value, and let it process both. And also that works. So OCR, what we are thinking about is use it for entering meter values. Now, we've created an app during that hackathon, and it's in the name. You just try something really ugly to see, does it work or not? And it's not according to our development standard, so not with all the tests, etc. You just try something, does it work? And we were really surprised about the result. So I have an impression about it. So here, let me start it. Here, we've added an app, and that app is capable of doing, making a picture or using one from the added already to the device. Here I select a picture, it's processed, and you can see the QR code is used as an equipment ID, and it selects all the detected value, and the user can still switch between the values. And that's it. So let me start it again. So you have to, again, the right impression, how OCR can be used. Start the app. Now make a picture or check one from its gallery. It is processed, and the user don't have to enter that entire code anymore. It just has to select or check is the right one selected or not. So it will speed up the process because it's annoying to enter a long digit and also search the right asset. And now everything is just handled within one picture and check it by submitting it. So I hope it's clear what OCR is and what we are capable of. So I've got a question, because during that hackathon, we were surprised how well this technique works. To be honest, we Googled on example meters and they all worked. So that's really nice, but this technique might be very helpful in your organization. So my question to you is, are you already working with entering meter values with the help of Ultimo Mobile? And if yes, can you send us example photos of those meters? Because the images on Google were crystal clear, but maybe your meter is a little bit dirty. Just now the technique still work. Analog meters or digital meters, they were all different. And to be sure that this technique is really capable of a lot of examples meters, we are searching for such input from you, so we can check the accuracy and reliability. Maybe you're thinking, wow, this OCR technique, that I've got a different idea about this, how this can be used. Please send it as well. So product management at ultimo.com. Please send us examples. Now it's coming my question in place, because I already mentioned the case. So it's annoying to enter a long digit manually. And this OCR technique, we think it can be really helpful. So my question to you is, do you recognize this problem? And is it interesting for your organization? Now, 3 answers. No, we don't register meter readings, so it's not applicable to us. Please choose then that option. Maybe no, because we registered the meter readings, but there are no problems. So then, this OCR technique is really helpful. Or yes, this technique is really interesting and it might help us to solve the problem that entering it manually is annoying, and also error is quickly made. You can imagine that a meter reading with a lot of digits, maybe you skip 1 digit and then the meter reading isn't correct. So that's why we're asking you within this poll to see if it's an interesting technique to continue on later on in our roadmap. We don't have any plans with it, but we want to check it together with you. Is it helpful or not? It was a funny way during the hackathon to check certain techniques, and we were really surprised about what you can do with it and how well it works. We have used several images and added it. You can work with this artificial intelligence, like rules like in the central image should be the meter reading. All those fine-tuning is possible. That's why I asked in the previous slide to give us examples so we can check the accuracy and the reliability. Otherwise, if it doesn't work, then it's getting annoying and then it's not a proper solution. Okay, we received a lot of input. So the outcome is already that a lot of you are interested in it. That this technique is really helpful. Also several customers don't register already the meter readings, but overall it's really interesting technique. That's good to know. Thank you all. Then we continue with the final slide about, maybe I didn't mention you something, but you have something in mind. It's always possible to send us an email to productmanagement@ultimo.com. We are checking this address regularly, and it's always possible to come in contact with us. Are there any questions, maybe during the webinar, maybe up front, or just add them now already? That's also possible. Let's have a look at the chat if there are any questions. So in November there's also another webinar where I will present again the topic mobile Will we have some overlap with this webinar as well? But I hope I can still work a little bit more on the mobile strategy and come back during that webinar on it. So as presented, it is a really important step for the future to determine where we want to go to. Mobile, working mobile is really an important aspect. And yeah, that's something we all agree on. So yeah, there aren't any questions yet. I will wait a little bit longer. And otherwise, yeah, maybe it was all clear. We're good to go, and we can end this webinar. Please keep in mind we are searching for end users who are willing to give us advice about the inspection functionality. So if you have someone in mind in your organization, send it to us. And also the OCR technique, if you have examples, please send them to us. Yeah, there's a question about a customer who's, I guess, in doubt of switching from on-premise to the cloud environment. What is the effect for the mobile? Well, if you're going to Azure, then it's really easy to get for the mobile part to connect because on Azure you're always available. So that's a huge benefit. On-premise is in many situations difficult to connect mobile, or more difficult, complicated. There are more scenarios in case. So another question is, it's in Dutch, so I translated. Sorry. Can I work in Ultimo Go with materials and add it to a job with scanning the barcode? Yeah, that's now added. A few slides back, I mentioned that we've added in all the list the option to scan with QR code or NFC. By adding materials, that's a workflow step, so that's now become possible. And some customers ask consultants to do it already, so maybe in your organization that is already the case, but now it's added in the standard as well. Yeah. Is it possible to sign a job when it's done with name and autograph? Yeah, that is possible already in a certain module. So it's we have technique to sign a job. I thought it's in the medical technology module, so it's a little bit I'm missing a little bit details, but yes, there is technique available. And if you have a question about it specific for within a certain module or scenario, you can also ask a consultant about it. But yes, there are options there. Yeah. Is the Ultimo Go Plus app standard available in the newest version of Ultimo, or is this a feature? Well, it is a little bit different compared to the on-prem scenario. It's still an optional feature, but it's only one feature, and in the old situation you had to work with also a user model, but that is now available for all the users. So you just have to add this optional module to the license, and then you can work with the Ultimo Go Plus. Then a question about near field communication and QR. Can it be used in the job process? So can the right assets be found with near field communication or QR? And can you create a report? And that is indeed the case. But keep in mind, near field communication is only available in the Go Plus, and QR is available in the Ultimo Go. But indeed, you can go in within our app to the list of assets, scan, start a near field communication, hold it nearby the asset. It will be searched the right asset, selected, and then you can report an incident. Yeah. Is it possible to display certain QR codes on the dashboard? For example, scanning a system without clicking through it several times. I don't get the entire question. display certain QR codes. So if you can elaborate a little bit more on it, and otherwise we can come back on it by email later on. Okay. Well, that was about it. So thank you all for attending and having questions. And I hope it was all clear. Otherwise, just email me and I will get in contact. So thank you all for attending. Have a good day and see you in the next webinar. Thank you all. Bye.